Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Arrive outside the holy city. The goddess of nature and spirits did not come straight into the city from the sky. Instead, he walked through the city gate and walked into the city step by step. Today's holy city has become very prosperous, with a permanent population of more than 10 million, not including the kingdom's various arms and legions. The more than 10 million permanent residents are all of ordinary races. They do not have strong combat effectiveness. His daily job is to run the logistics of Heaven Kingdom and provide Lin Yu with the power of faith. Angelia, the goddess of nature and elves, whispered to Secretarian, who was leading the way, and asked, "What kind of character does the Lord of Holy Light of this era have?" Secretarian frowned slightly and said firmly, "My Lord is eternal, immortal, and will always be the same person. How can we say that there is an era?" The goddess of nature and elves said, dissatisfied. "You know what I mean." Angelia said, "Just be good." The goddess of nature and spirits is silent. But I also understand what Angelia means, and she needs to maintain due respect. She certainly won't forget this. Even the Titan King Cronus, who had no dealings with the angel clan, still had to show some respect in front of the Lord of Holy Light. Even if the Lord of Holy Light is really reincarnated and has now become immortal, that cannot be disrespected or even blasphemed by anyone else. After all, she can think with her toes. A supreme being like the Lord of Holy Light will definitely leave behind a terrifying backhand even if he reincarnates. This backup plan is definitely not as simple as having the Angel Clan and 1 or 2 18-winged archangels protect the way. Maybe in the blink of an eye, the Lord of Holy Light will be resurrected with full health. Therefore, respect is a must. She didn't want to face the Lord of Holy Light after being resurrected with full blood. My mind was racing. The goddess of nature and elves ignored the outside world and followed Angelia into the luxurious city Lord's mansion. In the spacious hall, she saw the figure sitting on the throne at the top of the hall. A young human being with 19 turns of the wheel of life, a late-stage demigod, master of the origins of laws with 37 different attributes, and a cultivation time of less than 20 days. The goddess of nature and elves understood Lin Yu's message at a glance. It is more accurate than checking the household registration book. There are 2 terrifying forces within this figure's body. One is the legendary power of creation, which is the power exclusive to the Lord of Holy Light. Another one, from the Origin Scepter. The Scepter of Origin, the natal super artifact of the Lord of Holy Light, was used to create the angel race. The goddess of nature and spirits took a deep breath. Completely solid. The figure in front of him is the Lord of Holy Light. Because except for the Lord of Holy Light, no one has the qualifications and the courage to incorporate the Origin Scepter into his body, not even the 18-winged archangels of the Angel Clan. As for the power of creation, there is no need to explain too much. Without hesitation, the goddess of nature and elves immediately stepped forward, saluted the figure on the throne with the highest etiquette of the natural god system, and said respectfully, "My dear Lord of Holy Light, I am able to see you here. Heloise's honor. Your brilliance will remain as dazzling as ever." Heloise. It is the true name of the deity of the goddess of nature and spirits. The true names of gods are different from the names of mortals. The true name of a god contains mysterious power. Creatures whose personalities are too different cannot call the great being by its true name. Because once you call, you will be sensed by the great being, who will then lower your mind to obliterate the blasphemer. The names of gods are generally based on their priesthood. The goddess of nature and elves is on the same level as Angelia, and they have a really good relationship, so they call her by her real name. Another problem is, no one in the universe knows the true name of the Lord of Holy Light. At this moment, Lin Yu, who was sitting on the throne, was also looking at the goddess of nature and elves in the hall. The first feeling is beauty. Flawless natural beauty. Her face was impeccably refined. The golden eyes have a dreamy brilliance like stars. Her figure also belongs to the top 9-headed body. Every part is presented in perfect golden proportion. The temperament on her body is elegant, quiet, and pure, with a sense of tolerance that is like nature and it also makes Lin Yu feel like she wants to be included in her. In addition, it is noble. Every inch of her skin seemed to be blooming with divine light. Like a goddess in mythology, one must not be blasphemed. One more word. The fog that shrouded the face of the goddess of nature and elves has dissipated. In front of the Lord of Holy Light, the goddess of nature and elves no longer needs to remain mysterious, revealing her true appearance that is difficult for even gods to glimpse. After all, how mysterious can the Lord of Holy Light be? So far, no one knows the origin of the Lord of Holy Light. There are legends that this universe was created by the Lord of Holy Light. There are also legends that the Lord of Holy Light was born together with this universe, and that he gave birth to the true spirit in chaos. But which one is correct, no one knows. Lin Yu opened his mouth on the throne. But suddenly I realized that I didn't know what to say. After all, the person in front of him is the supreme god standing on the battlefield of all realms. He is immortal at the demigod level and has nothing in common with such a big shot. After a long silence, Lin Yu pretended to be profound and said, "Tens of millions of years have passed. How are you, the natural elves, doing on the battlefield of all realms?" The goddess of nature and elves looked stunned. This sentence feels a bit familiar. Then he quickly and respectfully replied, "Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty. We are doing well." Lin Yu nodded. "Well, that's good." Goddess of nature and elves, all of a sudden. The main hall of the city lord's mansion was in a state of silence. The atmosphere was awkward. Lin Yu is trying to find a topic to have a deeper communication with this goddess of nature and spirits. The goddess of nature and spirits is also looking for a topic. If it were the Lord of Holy Light tens of millions of years ago, she would have already started talking, for example, asking for advice on the laws and secrets of the God King level. The Supreme God King is not the pinnacle of the realm of law. Above the Supreme God King, there is also a terrifying existence like the Lord of Holy Light, really covering the sky with one hand. Compared to the power of the Lord of Holy Light, the Supreme God King is nothing. In that battle that year, ZZ and the elf goddess saw with their own eyes that the Lord of Holy Light crushed a supreme god from the Void Demon clan camp to death with one hand, just like squeezing a chicken to death. It can be seen from this. How terrifying is the power of the Lord of Holy Light. Anyone who can get the guidance of the Lord of Holy Light is a great opportunity for the goddess of nature and elves, and the benefits are far greater than getting a supreme artifact from Victoria. But the problem is, she can't ask. The current Lord of Holy Light not only has no memory of the past, but even his own realm is only at the demigod level. It was impossible to give her any advice. On the contrary, she can point out the rules of the Lord of Holy Light at the demigod level. If Lin Yu knew about this idea of the goddess of nature and elves, he would definitely be very happy. That's what he lacks now. Seeing that the world is about to be conquered by his angel army, the floating island numbered 018439 cannot last long. He will soon be able to enter the battlefield of all realms and become a god. However, now, the number of origins of laws he has mastered is only 37. In a few days, he mastered the origin of more than 30 laws with different attributes, which is actually quite amazing. But Lin Yu is still not satisfied. He wants to master hundreds, or even more, of the origins of laws like Secretarian. The more sources of laws you master, when he becomes a god in the future, his power will become even more powerful. And after becoming a god, you will gain a higher status. Unfortunately, such thoughts were quickly thrown away by the goddess of nature and elves. No matter how awesome she is, she doesn't dare to give advice to the Lord of Holy Light. If she really wanted to do this, the 7 18-winged archangels from the angel clan would definitely go berserk. It would be easy to press her to the ground and beat her up. So the final result is, the goddess of nature and elves missed a good opportunity to get closer to the Lord of Holy Light. Lin Yu himself also missed a big opportunity. In the end, the sensible secretarian broke the awkward atmosphere in the hall. A pair of soft eyes fell on the goddess of nature and elves and said, "My lord, I believe that Heloise came to the lower world this time simply to pay homage to you. As for the war between us and the natural elf empire, she probably won't ask." The eyebrows of the goddess of nature and elves twitched slightly. Angelia's, Your Majesty, made her instinctively feel horrified. She quickly said, "The elves in the natural elf empire are lucky to be able to attach themselves to the Lord of Holy Light and become believers of the Holy Light. My natural god system and the angel clan have always had a friendly relationship. I will never cause the Lord of Holy Light's displeasure because of this trivial matter." On the throne, Lin Yu said with a bright smile, "Indeed, this is just a small floating island world. In the future, we will have more opportunities for contact and communication in the battlefield of all realms. This is something I've been looking forward to for a long time." The goddess of nature and elves said with a solemn expression, "I will greet your majesty's arrival on the battlefield of all realms." The words paused slightly. The goddess of nature and elves suddenly asked, "My dear Lord of Holy Light, does your return indicate that the void demon race will invade our universe again?" Although she knew that the current Lord of Holy Light had no way to give her the answer, but she still couldn't help but ask. After all, the sudden appearance of the Lord of Holy Light, who had disappeared for tens of millions of years, was a big event in the entire battlefield of all realms, enough to cause a sensation in all realms of the universe. The last time the Lord of Holy Light came, the void demons invaded the universe. What about this time? She wanted to find out the secret behind it. Even if she couldn't get the answer from the Lord of Holy Light this time, she would still have to find a way to investigate it after she returned. Lin Yu sighed. After hearing the words of the goddess of nature and elves, naturally he didn't know how to answer. Will the Void Demon clan make a comeback? Where does he know where to go? For this matter, you have to ask the Lord of Holy Light tens of millions of years ago. Just when Lin Yu was about to find some words to excuse her, his expression changed slightly. His eyes became indifferent. He looked down at the goddess of nature and elves in the hall, and then slowly said, "Chaos is shaking, and the universe is stacked." The ancient portal was forced to open, alternating illusion and reality. The void, omnix, eternity, tear open the sky, reflecting the awakening of the holy angel. "Heloise, are you sure you're ready?" Lin Yu's voice at this time was low and rigid, without any emotion. Above the main hall, Angelia and the goddess of nature and elves all changed their expressions. "My lord." Angelia's voice trembled. A pair of golden eyes looked at Lin Yu, who was sitting on the throne. Heloise, the goddess of nature and elves, almost knelt on the ground, her body shaking uncontrollably. She took a deep breath and asked with a tone full of reverence, "Your Majesty, the Lord of Holy Light, can you be more specific?" Lin Yu glanced at her, frowned and said, "What did you say?" Goddess of nature and elves. The goddess of nature and spirits left very hastily. After confirming that Lin Yu had not deceived her, she decisively said goodbye and left. She didn't even return to the nature elf empire. After exiting the city lord's palace, he directly tore apart the barriers of world rules and returned to the battlefield of all realms. First, she didn't want to meet the fallen Victoria. The second is because she was frightened by Lin Yu's words. Although she could not fully understand what the Lord of Holy Light meant, this did not prevent her from having a glimpse of a terrible war that was coming. This war will sweep across the entire universe. It will be even more tragic than the war between saints and demons tens of millions of years ago. If not done well, the order of the universe will be overturned because of this war. The void, omnix, eternity, tear open the sky, reflecting the awakening of the holy angel. The void should be the Void Demon clan. Omnic, eternity. Which side are you referring to? Who is the holy angel? There are also ancient portals that were forced to open. Where does this portal stand? Is it the legendary Gate of Origin? Returning to the vast natural world, Heloise, the goddess of nature and elves, was still thinking about the words spoken by the Lord of Holy Light. And soon, her back was soaked with cold sweat. Our universe is about to suffer a horrific invasion. Even the Lord of Holy Light has no confidence to resist it. This is the conjecture of the goddess of nature and elves. And she was very sure that her guess was correct. Why did the Lord of Holy Light reincarnate? The Lord of Holy Light must have peeked into the future and knew that when the great catastrophe came again, It would be difficult to redeem the universe with his power back then, so he chose to reincarnate and rebuild, in order to obtain more powerful power. As for why he was reincarnated after tens of millions of years. During these tens of millions of years, where did the Lord of Holy Light go, and what did he do? The goddess of nature and spirits cannot imagine. The words of the Lord of Holy Light appeared again and again in the mind of the goddess of nature and elves. Especially the sentence, "Heloise, are you sure you are ready?" It would make her feel cold every time it came up. In this sentence, she even felt a breath of death envelope her. Gods are immortal beings. But this does not mean that gods cannot die. In the great battle between saints and demons, billions of gods fell, and countless true spirits were extinguished. In a battle of this level, even the supreme god king dare not say that he will definitely survive. But what is certain is that the goddess of nature and spirits does not want to die. She also has a great goal. That is to break through the realm of the supreme god king and become an existence like the Lord of Holy Light. Therefore, after returning to the natural world, the first thing she did was to gather all the gods under her command into her god world, such as the famous flame goddess, ocean goddess, etc. She wants to prepare for the future war. In addition, she also contacted the goddess of light, the goddess of sun radiance, the goddess of moonlight and hunting, the goddess of judgment, and other supreme gods. These supreme goddesses all belong to the camp of the angel clan. She informed these supreme goddesses of the Lord of Holy Light's return to the world, and at the same time told the Lord of Holy Light's words exactly as they were. The reason for doing this? It was because of the sense of death crisis that enveloped her that she couldn't do it alone. You must hug the thigh of the Lord of Holy Light. Chaos oscillates, and the universe stacks up. Even the Lord of Holy Light does not have much confidence that he can survive this upcoming catastrophe. Without the protection of the Lord of Holy Light, wouldn't it be certain to die? Let the Titans do the hard work. Just like Angelia said, she just needs to be nice. Have I ever said such a thing? In the main hall of the city lord's mansion, Lin Yu looked at the beautiful and elegant secretary and with a dull expression. "Yes, my lord." Angelia nodded respectfully. "This is what you said yourself, but neither I nor the goddess of nature and elves can fully understand the hidden meaning of your words. She knows more than the goddess of nature and spirits. For example, the awakening of the holy angels most likely refers to the two chaos holy angels created by the Lord of Holy Light that even the 18-winged archangels have never seen before and will be revived in the future. As for the others, she was not able to understand them all." Lin Yu looked confused. But soon, his expression darkened. At this moment, he felt as creepy as the goddess of nature and elves. What frightened him was not the terrible war those words pointed to, but the fact that the old guy, the Lord of Holy Light, borrowed his body to say these words. During this process, he didn't even have any consciousness himself. This feeling was as if there was a terrifying creature hiding in his body that might occupy his consciousness and seize his body at any time. Who won't panic if you leave it alone? My lord, Angelia and Lin Yu have a good connection. She understood why Lin Yu's expression suddenly changed, and she also knew what he was worried about. "Don't worry, you are the Lord of Holy Light, and the Lord of Holy Light is you. When you return to your peak, you will only revive your memory, not other consciousnesses and souls. You are all alone." Lin Yu can understand what Angelia means. But his mood still didn't get better. From Angelia's perspective, Lin Yu is the Lord of Holy Light, and the Lord of Holy Light is Lin Yu. Whether his memory is restored now or in the future, Lin Yu is the Lord of Holy Light. His soul will not be invaded. Consciousness is still your own consciousness. Because he is himself, there will be no second consciousness or second soul emerging. From beginning to end, Lin Yu had only one consciousness. Whether it was the events experienced during this period, or the ordering of the angel clan to defeat the invasion of the void demon army tens of millions of years ago, or even the stripping of the godhead and divinity, this was all done by Lin Yu himself. He just lacks the previous memory. Even if the memory is restored, it will not affect anything. But from Lin Yu's perspective, this problem is big. The memory of the Lord of Holy Light, that old guy, is so vast. Once he is revived, his memory of the past 20 years will only be a drop of water in the ocean. Will he still be himself then? Once his subjective consciousness chooses to stand in the memory of the Lord of Holy Light, that old guy, can he still exist now? Lin Yu said to himself. If the memory recovers, I may not be Lin Yu. Angelia said, Great Lord, you are an eternal existence. Whether it is the memory of the Lord of Holy Light or your current memory, it is your experience in this life. Certain gods will condense into various incarnations and experience different lives in different worlds. Until the end, take back these incarnations. Among those incarnations, there are also different memories. But this does not mean that those gods have become their own incarnations. They are still themselves. The soul and the true spirit are the essence. As long as you are firm in your subjective ideas, you can become whoever you want to be. You have a point. Lin Yu seemed to have thought of something, and a smile suddenly appeared on his handsome cheeks, and he said, As long as I can stand firm, the memory of the Lord of Holy Light will be a novel to me. No matter how realistic and fascinating the novel is, it is ultimately illusory. Perhaps this is the alternation between fantasy and reality. This little fresh kid like me will never become that old guy. Angelia was stunned for half a second. Then he quickly lowered his head. The great Lord of Holy Light cursed himself, but she just pretended not to hear him. Here, Lin Yu's inner world suddenly became clear. He stretched himself out and felt enlightened all over. Then he suddenly said with dissatisfaction, Heloise is also stingy. She didn't know how to bring some gifts when she came to see me. Even if she leaves some of the origins of the laws, it would be great. That's what I'm missing right now. Without waiting for Angelia to speak, he took Secretary An's little hand and walked toward the backyard of the city lord's mansion. As he walked, he said, So, it is better to rely on others than to rely on yourself. Let's continue to work hard. Angelia hummed lightly. She followed Lin Yu with brisk steps. The 12 angel wings behind him exude dazzling light. This night, Lin Yu gained a lot. Under Secretary An's perfect assistance, selfless dedication, and careful guidance, and equipped with precious law stones, Lin Yu mastered the origin of more than 20 laws with different attributes in one night. It can be said to be rapid progress. Since then, the number of law origins Lin Yu has mastered has reached 64. It's not far away from breaking through 100. As long as he works hard enough, it will only take 2 or 3 days. When he woke up early in the morning, Lin Yu received another good news from several war zones. In the dark underground world, the army of fallen angels led by Victoria and Priscilla successfully captured the base camp of the Evil Eye Empire. Until now, 5 Empire-level evil forces. Except for the Dark Elf Empire, all other 4 forces were wiped out. Now, the army of fallen angels is clearing out other strongholds of evil forces, and it is expected that this war will be completely ended soon. All major cities and tribes in the Dark Elf Empire have been destroyed. Some Dark Elves came to the Holy City with the help of the teleportation array. When the war ends, other Dark Elves headed by the Dark Elf Queen Nadia will also be teleported over and settle down in the Holy City from then on. Over there in the Land of Plenty, the army of holy angels led the army of the Holy Sea of Light and won the war. A total of 500,000 giant dragons, dying to death, surrendering and surrendering. No one escapes. After the destruction of the Dragon Legion, the army camp of the Kingdom of Kilias also collapsed, and all surviving enemy troops laid down their weapons and surrendered. Then, the angel army attacked the capital of the Kingdom of Kilias. But no war broke out. Because when the angel army arrived, the king of the Kingdom of Kilias had already summoned the kingdom's senior officials and nobles to gather outside the city to welcome the arrival of the angel army. They did not struggle and simply surrendered as a nation. Compared with the destruction of the kingdom and being purified by the holy flame, they chose to bow their heads to the angel army and embrace the holy light, which was not so difficult to accept. After all, even the dragon army was defeated. At the same time, the Holy Sea of Light and 2 other human kingdoms also announced that they would join the Kingdom of Heaven and become its affiliated forces. This is a very necessary process. because only in this way can they become subjects of the kingdom under Lin Yu and gain the ability to kill enemies and obtain source energy rewards. Even on the battlefield of all realms, he can be recognized. Since then, Fengrao region has been completely owned by Lin Yu. 36 islands in the bay are tens of thousands of kilometers away. The war pace of the fallen angel army never stops. Even at night, it is advancing rapidly. The undead creatures that haunt the night simply cannot resist the footsteps of the army of fallen angels. Everything has been reduced to the experience of the fallen angels. For fallen angels, the benefits of killing undead creatures are higher than killing wild monsters. Because the soul origins of undead creatures are relatively more numerous and more pure. Devouring the soul origin of undead creatures can bring huge benefits to fallen angels. In just one night, the fallen angel army captured at least 7 islands of different sizes, killing hundreds of millions of undead creatures, wild monsters, and native intelligent creatures on the islands. On the 36 islands in the bay, there are a large number of sub-dragon monsters. For example, bipedal dragon, two-headed dragon, earth dragon, black iron spine dragon, dragon eagle, and so on. The sub-dragon monster is not a pure dragon. It is equivalent to a hybrid species between a dragon and other creatures. Its overall strength is much stronger than ordinary wild monsters. On land, there are not many worm monsters. But in the 36 islands in the bay, there are so many of them that it's incredible. When the professionals came to these islands, the sub-dragon monsters also caused a lot of casualties to them. Before the arrival of the fallen angel army, dragon monsters were also a nightmare for professionals. Even the lord professionals who own armies do not want to encounter the sub-dragon monster. However, with the arrival of the army of fallen angels, these sub-dragon monsters will no longer be strong. As long as you encounter them, they will inevitably turn into mummies that have been devoured by blood and souls. The fallen angel army's war plan today is to attack Central Dragon Island, the base camp of the Dragon Clan. Capture the Central Dragon Island and destroy the Dragon Nest. The remaining islands can be cleared later. At the same time, a floating island in another world. After a whole day of clearing out, the Holy Angel Army and the kingdom's top military force have almost cleared the entire 3 areas. For foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiabangzi on the floating island in another world, this kind of attack speed is terrifying. But for the kingdom's army, it is not fast at all. After all, the total size of the kingdom's army reaches more than 10 million. This includes an army of 4 million angels and an army of more than 6 million top-level soldiers. Looking at other war zones, only the size of the kingdom's army on the Lenkel Prairie can compare. But the overall war strength is far inferior to that of the kingdom's army in the Runkel Prairie. Not to mention, in addition to the angel army and the top-level army, there are millions of kingdom professionals who have entered the floating island in another world. The total scale is as high as 20 million. Such a huge army did not clear out the entire 3 areas. It was really a bit slow. The reason? It is the world rules of the floating island in another world that are desperate. In order to destroy Lin Yu's kingdom army, it even dispatched local forces from other regions. Even under its dominance, the native power races of other worlds and foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiabangzi temporarily joined forces. Lin Yu's kingdom army is now at war with the power of the entire other world. It's normal for progress to be slow. But as long as we can win a big battle, the remaining areas will be much easier to solve. Lin Yu also knew about this news. He planned to send more angelic legions over later, completely shatter the illusion of another world. Hall of Lords. Lin Yu was counting the trophies sent back from various armies with Angelia, Ten-Winged Angel Elena, Saint of Light Tiffany, and others. After selling equipment, blueprints, and other trophies, and after opening all the stronghold treasure chests, Lin Yu received more than 500 million gold coins. To be more precise, it was more than 547 million, which once again broke the revenue record. Nearly 550 million gold coins. 190 large-scale angel legions can be summoned. The total number of angels is more than 9.7 million. When calculating this data, even if Lin Yu was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but take a breath, and his handsome face was filled with a shocked expression. Summon an army of tens of millions of angels at once. What is this concept? The total number of foreign professionals on the floating island numbered 018439 is only over 10 million. In other words, Lin Yu only needed 2 days to summon more angels than the total number of those foreign professionals. At this summoning speed, how could that floating island defeat his army of angels? Even if the other floating islands are integrated together and fight Lin Yu's army, the final winner will still be Lin Yu. With the consumption of nearly 500 million gold coins, the summoned black hole opened, and densely packed beautiful figures flew out of the black hole. In the blink of an eye, one after another, fully armed angel armies appeared inside and outside the Lord's Hall. The sacred camp and the fallen camp interfere with each other and are clearly distinct. What they have in common is that they are all enthusiastic believers in Lin Yu. They have the strongest faith and loyalty to Lin Yu, the Lord of Holy Light. Soon, an army of nearly 10 million angels was summoned. It's still a 2-to-1 ratio. There are more than 6 million holy angels. There are more than 3 million fallen angels. In addition to angels, there are also a large number of 3-headed hell dogs and giant monsters such as the Abyss Dragon. Especially the Abyss demonic dragons. All of them are at the demigod level. On the battlefield of all realms, the demigod-level Abyss dragons might just be little black lizards. But in the floating island world, they are terrifying creatures standing at the top. At the same level, giant dragons would have to be torn into pieces by them. The combat power of the Abyss demonic dragon is equivalent to that of an ultra-rare dragon species among the dragon clan. It's not something that ordinary dragons can compare to. Including the Abyss dragons summoned this time, the total number of Abyss dragons under Lin Yu's command has successfully exceeded 100. In other words, more than 100 demigod-level powerful men have been outed in vain. This is a very good deal. As usual, Lin Yu dispatched the 2 armies of angels respectively. The army of holy angels went to the floating island in another world. Since then, the total size of the holy angel army fighting on the floating island in another world has directly exceeded 10 million. On the other side, an army of more than 3 million fallen angels was dispatched to the 36 islands in the bay. But it is not to destroy the dragon clan, but to occupy the entire region faster. After the 2 armies of angels left, Lin Yu took Angelia and others to a blank area in the city. As the golden drawings disappeared from his hand, lush dark elf mother trees appeared in front of him. Most of these dark elf military building drawings were revealed by destroying the cities and tribes of the Dark Elf Empire, and a few were obtained by opening stronghold treasure chests. The total number is 39, plus the original Dark Elf Mother tree he had before. He now owns a total of 40 top-level military buildings that can breed Dark Elves. Then borrow the reserved territorial building upgrade drawings to upgrade all these newly built Dark Elf Mother trees to the full 9th level. From then on, he could Uda 400,000 Dark Elves of different professions every day. Before the collapse of the Dark Elf Empire, the Dark Elf clan had a large number of mother trees, but the number of Dark Elf they gave birth to every day could not compare to Lin Yu's 40 Dark Elf military buildings. This is the power of the floating island of all realms. Of course, it has nothing to do with the floating island he is on. Mainly the world rules from the battlefield of all realms. Just as the world rules of floating islands say, it is just a wage earner who works overtime without overtime pay. The world rules of 10,000 realms battlefield are the boss and govern all floating islands. After summoning 10,000 angels from the angel reincarnation pool again, Lin Yu said to Angelia, "If you have nothing to do, let's go to Dragon Island. I suddenly have a premonition that a war of even greater scale is about to come." As per normal conditions, he should be dragging secretary into exchange rules now. But because he worked too hard last night and gained too much, he needed to digest it. It is the so-called combination of work and rest. Naturally, Angelia would not raise objections to Lin Yu's instructions. Immediately, the group of people drove a city of angels and flew towards the 36 islands in the bay. Say one more thing. The city of angels controlled by Lin Yu and others, is a medium-sized city of angels just built by the craftsman angels. From yesterday to now, the craftsman angels have built more than a dozen angel cities. Except for this medium-sized angel city, the others are small angel cities. Those small angel cities also entered the floating island in another world with the newly summoned army of holy angels. Until now, the number of angel cities fighting on floating islands and other worlds has also reached 17. Medium-sized city of angels is also in the shape of a square with a length and breadth of 108,000 meters. It is much larger than small-sized city of angels and is not at the same level. It comes standard with 20 large-scale angel legions, carrying 1,000,000 angels. If it is squeezed, it will not be a problem to carry 3 to 5 million angels. In terms of combat strength, the tens of thousands of magic energy cannons it carries can easily kill demigods. If the strongest attack method is used, the true god will die even if he comes. To put it more directly, as long as there is enough energy, this medium-sized angel city can easily destroy the entire floating island world. Its destructive power is strong enough to tear the floating island into pieces. In addition, this is also driven by the energy of the magic core, and the controller has not reached the peak. If it is driven by a divine stone and the person who controls it has peak power, then its war strength will be even more terrifying, and it is completely normal for it to directly increase by 1,000 times. The controller of medium-sized angel city should theoretically be a 14-winged angel. It's a pity that Lin Yu currently has no 14-winged angels under his command, so he left it directly under the control of Secretarian. Soon, this medium-sized city of angels flew away from the holy city, smashing through the thick clouds and heading towards the 36 islands in the southeastern bay. It was also at this time. In the remote deep-sea area, huge waves are rolling and heavy rain is pouring. And among the huge waves, there were countless giant figures. It has to be said that Lin Yu's premonition is getting more and more accurate. This is thanks to Secretary and's personal guidance. Endless sea area. Purple thunder and lightning struck down horizontally, tearing the sky into pieces. Below, the waves surged into the sky and giant beasts roared. The scene was extremely terrifying, as if it was about to crush the world. Among the rolling waves, there are densely packed figures. Most of them are in the form of monsters, and they are all sea beasts. The races include giant sharks, octopus, crabs, swordfish, etc. Without exception, they are all ferocious-looking, abnormal sea creatures. At this moment, they form an extremely large army, riding the waves. The sea surface is rough, and there are undercurrents on the bottom of the sea. It can be seen that there are more giant sea beasts under the sea water. At a glance, it is simply overwhelming. The difference is that in front of this army of giant sea beasts are exquisite and gorgeous warships, which travel freely through the underwater world like submarines. The battleship was not sealed. There were still a large number of figures standing on the deck. From a distance, they look very similar to the Nagas under Lin Yu. They are all human beings with snake tails. But if you look closely, you will find that they are not the same as the Naga family. Their tails are thicker. The overall body shape is also a few sizes larger than Naga. Their hair is composed of small snakes of different colors. It looks very weird. And they are the extremely mysterious top race in the floating island world, the Medusa clan. In addition to Medusa, there are many creatures on the deck that look just like humans, as well as some creatures with human fish tails, human octopus tails, etc. These creatures were all transformed from powerful sea beasts. Of course, there are also purebred mermaids. On land, mermaids are known as sirens. Their singing is said to be extremely seductive. His favorite thing to do is to appear offshore and confuse the fishermen who make a living by fishing. But not for reproduction, let alone love, but to eat it. Mermaids also hunt sea beasts. Regardless of whether it is beautiful or not, once it falls into their hands, it will basically become a delicious meal. Her Majesty the Queen. On the deck of one of the battleships, a Medusa who looked like a beautiful woman said respectfully to Queen Medusa, who was wearing an exquisite crown on her head, "In about 2 hours, our army will be able to enter the waters of the 36 islands in the Gulf." Queen Medusa's snake hair is not colorful. but pure gold. A snake's hair looks like it is made of gold. Her eyes also have golden vertical pupils, very similar to snake eyes. In her hand, she holds a pure golden trident, which is the symbol of power of the Medusa Empire and the entire sea tribe. Its name is the Poseidon Trident. This is an artifact. It was governed by Queen Medusa throughout the ages. Its most powerful ability is that it can control the sea clan and sea beasts that are not very intelligent. It is precisely because of it that the Medusa Empire can rule the deep sea and make all sea races and sea beasts surrender. Queen Medusa said with an indifferent expression, "Order the army to prepare for landing on the island. As you command, Your Majesty the Queen." Medusa, who was as beautiful as a woman, bowed respectfully. Time passed quickly. 2 hours later, the sea army led by Queen Medusa successfully entered the 36 Islands area of the bay. A huge tsunami also followed. There are several nearby islands that bear the brunt of the storm. One of the islands was directly engulfed by the tsunami. Several other islands were also severely damaged. In a short period of time, a large number of wild monsters and native intelligent creatures were swallowed by the tsunami. Before they could react, they directly became the lunch of the sea beasts. However, Queen Medusa's army is not here to attack the 36 islands in the bay. This time, the Sea Clan, headed by the Medusa Empire, received a signal from the giant Dragon Clan asking for help and came to help the Dragon Clan resist the attack of the Angel Army. Last night, when he learned the news of the destruction of the Dragon Legion, the Dragon King of the Dragon Clan immediately contacted the Queen of Nature Elf and Queen Medusa. Their main army was wiped out in the Land of Plenty, and their home islands were simultaneously invaded by the fallen Angel Army. They had no choice but to ask for support. Throughout the history of the Dragon Clan, it seems that they have never been so miserable. All the time. The giant Dragon Clan is the pinnacle race standing in the world of floating islands. Basically, no race can threaten them. In order to monopolize the 36 islands in the bay, they launched a war and directly drove the Naga clan to the land, highlighting the strength and arrogance of their race. However, this time, the Dragon Clan faced a catastrophe. The only thing worth celebrating is, neither the Queen of Nature Elf nor Queen Medusa refused their request for help. Queen Medusa, who was located in the deep sea, immediately led the sea tribe's army across the ocean and across the sea. Even though her empire is deep in the sea, far away from the land. But she also understands the meaning of lips dying and teeth falling cold. Once the Angel Army captures the land, the next war plan must be their Medusa Empire. And with the strength of their clan, it is naturally difficult to resist the attack of the Angel Army. Working together with the Dragon Clan and the Nature Elf Clan is the best choice at this stage. Just at this time, Queen Medusa once again received news from the Dragon King. According to the news, the army of fallen angels in the Paradise Kingdom has been heading towards their center, Dragon Island, and needs urgent support. Let's go. Head to Central Dragon Island. Queen Medusa is also a straight thinker. Without any hesitation, he immediately led the Sea Clan army to Central Dragon Island. Central Dragon Island, also known as Dragon Nest. It is the largest island in the entire Bay Area, thousands of kilometers across. It is also the headquarters of the Dragon Clan. On this island, there are millions of giant dragons of different types living, as well as countless subdragon monsters. Giant dragon creatures, which are rare on land, are everywhere here. Of course, this was before. After the 500,000 dragon army was completely wiped out in the Land of Plenty, the number of dragons on the Central Dragon Island dropped below 1 million. There are about 800,000 left. There are many old dragons and young dragons among them. Generally speaking, compared to other races, the number of giant dragons is still very rare. This is because their reproductive capacity is too low. Most dragons can only lay eggs after living for hundreds of years, and not all dragon eggs can successfully hatch into young dragons. To hatch a dragon egg, not only does the dragon mother need to take careful care of it, but it also needs to provide it with a large amount of life energy and elemental magic power. Dragons are top creatures. He has possessed extremely strong fighting power throughout his life. If the supply of life energy and elemental magic power is insufficient, it is very likely that the baby dragon will die directly inside the dragon egg. The combination of various factors caused the population size of the dragon clan to increase very slowly. As long as the reproduction ability of the giant dragon clan is comparable to that of humans, even if it is comparable to the growth rate of the natural elves, this floating island world has long been ruled by the giant dragon clan, although they are also top-notch units. But I have to admit that the single strength of the giant dragon far exceeds that of the natural elf. Especially below the holy level, a giant dragon can single-handedly challenge a group of natural elves. Only by stepping into the holy level and becoming a demigod. Only then will the gap between the two top arms be significantly shortened. At this moment, dark clouds enveloped the entire central dragon island. The harmony and prosperity that once existed have completely disappeared. All the dragons smelled the scent of war. They left the dragon's nest one after another and hovered over the dragon island. There was a young dragon roaring, expressing his inner fear and uneasiness. The dragon father and the dragon mother did not comfort them, because they themselves are in this state. And they have a more important thing to do, which is to protect their dragon island. The enemy has already arrived. In the sky above the sea area of the central dragon island, a full-scale fallen angel army is assembled. The total scale is more than 5 million. At a glance, it's almost like the sky is blocking out the sun. The surging evil and dark power came like a tsunami, and even the adult dragons and old dragons were frightened to the extreme, let alone the young dragons. Dragon God is on top. What kind of angels are these? It's completely different from the legend. The legendary angel is the Holy Spirit of the Holy and Light Camp, holy and immaculate. But these angels exude an evil aura that resembles creatures from the underworld, even no less than the void demons that appeared during the Holy Demon War. Even in myths and legends, there is no information about them. How could that four-winged angel be so huge? It's actually over 100 meters high. The mountain giants with Titan bloodline are only 20 or 30 meters tall. Facing that four-winged angel, the mountain giants all look extremely small. In that four-winged angel, I sense the terrifying aura of death. In front of her, I am as weak as an ant. It feels like she can cut me in half with just one sword strike. High in the sky, there were many adult dragons talking. Everyone is terrified and filled with fear. The four-winged angel they call is the super hell warrior Kajusha from the fallen angel camp. Lin Yu had brought Kajusha out of the underground world earlier and let her come to the 36 islands in the bay to fight with the fallen angel army. This time, when the fallen angel army besieges Central Dragon Island, she will naturally appear. It's no wonder that the adult dragons feel fear. The fighting power of the super hell warrior Kajusha is comparable to that of a lower true god, and the energy fluctuations emanating from her body directly reach the level of a true god. The only difference between Kajusha and the true god is that she has no godhead, nor can it release divine power. The energy angel heart in her body is the source of her power. The energy intensity and combat skills released are no less powerful than the divine power. The Super Hell Warrior can be said to be the strongest weapon of the fallen angel camp. It took the 18-winged fallen archangel Astia tens of millions of years to research and create. It combines the power of extraordinary and technological civilization, and its combat effectiveness is naturally very amazing. The Dragon Clan and the Fallen Angel Army faced each other at a distance of about 10,000 meters. The atmosphere was quite tense, because war may start at any time. Just at this time, bright defensive shields appeared out of thin air, shrouding the entire Dragon Island. The Dragon Clan has activated its most advanced defense methods. At the same time, a group of huge dragons with extremely terrifying auras flew out from the center of Dragon Island. The leader is a golden dragon that is more than 200 meters long. It is none other than the ruler of the Dragon Clan, Dragon Emperor Angst. I saw Dragon King Angst swaying. The body of the golden dragon, which was more than 200 meters long, disappeared. In his place was a middle-aged man wearing a golden magic robe, with a solemn face and golden vertical pupils, exuding a domineering aura. Dragons are the same as Warcraft. As long as you reach the level of the Holy Order, you can transform into a human form. However, there are also disadvantages. That means the dragon's true power cannot be unleashed. There is no way to breathe out the dragon's breath. Therefore, most of the time, the dragons basically maintain their original state. A distinguished guest from the angel clan. Dragon King Angst spoke in human language and said in a voice like thunder, "You have invaded the territory of our dragon clan. I hope you can evacuate immediately and restore peace to this area." If it were other intruders, Dragon Emperor Angst would never say such nonsense. He directly ordered the dragon army behind him to start a battle. But now, the force is stronger than the people. Their dragon clan faced an army of millions of angels. No matter how arrogant and confident the dragons are, they dare not say that they can withstand the attack of this angel army. If one of them fails, the entire dragon island will be broken into pieces. The glory of the dragon clan is likely to disappear. Therefore, for the dragon clan, it is best not to have this war happen. For this, they can even pay some price, such as giving their treasures to those angels. Shortly after Dragon King Angst's words fell, a tall and beautiful figure flew out of the camp of the fallen angel army. This is a 12-winged fallen angel. It was summoned by Lin Yu yesterday. Among this army of more than 5 million fallen angels, there are a total of 10 12-winged fallen angels, all of whom are at the peak of demigods. At the same time, before they were summoned, they were all master gods with great divine power. Life in hell is too boring. In addition to practicing, I just play hell monsters. The high-ranking fallen angels have long been exhausted and eager to leave hell. Not to mention, this is the Supreme Creator calling them. In order to grab a spot in the lower realm, their heads were almost broken. Those 12-winged fallen angels who have just entered the main god level cannot be defeated at all, and they cannot grab a spot. Those who are qualified for the lower realm are basically 12-winged fallen angels at the peak level of the lower gods. As for the sudden fall from the main god to the demigod, this isn't a big deal either. As long as they enter the 10,000 realms battlefield, and with the help of the divine stone, it is very simple for them to return to their peak state. Just like Gladys and Silveria, without the divine stone, they simply relied on daily practice and killing enemies. Now they have returned to the level of 10-winged fallen angels, and their levels have reached the peak of demigods. If the power of rules in this world were not too weak, they would have become gods long ago. It's easy to want peace. The 12-winged fallen angel said in a cold voice, "Lower your heads obediently and become a believer in the Supreme Creator, and you can survive." Hear this. Dragon King Angst's face suddenly darkened. The giant dragons behind him roared even more. They are proud dragons. How can they easily bow their heads to foreigners? Throughout the history of their dragon clan, no dragon has ever surrendered to other races. Of course, the dragon knights are not included. Dragon King Angst said in a deep voice, "Tens of millions of years ago, the evil Void Demon clan failed to conquer the ancestors of our dragon clan." The 12-winged fallen angel interrupted him. "The Void Demons are just the defeated generals of my angel clan. If the demon emperor of the void had not exploded his demonic body and escaped by chance, he would have died in the hands of the Supreme Creator and would have never even thought of escaping from this universe." She participated in the Holy Demon War that year. No one knows how many void demons died in her hands. I have seen with my own eyes how His Majesty the Demon Emperor of the Void Demon Clan was ravaged by their Supreme Creator. Dragon King Angst was silent. He admitted that the Angel Clan was awesome. All intelligent races in the universe know this. However, this is not the reason why their Dragon Clan can surrender. Otherwise, how can they face the great dragon god they believe in? Although they are not Titans, they still have the war genes of the Titans flowing in their bodies, as well as the will to never admit defeat. Lowering your head to a foreign race will be a shame to the entire Dragon Clan. They are also discrediting the Titans. Then we can only start a war. Dragon King Angst responded in a low voice. At the same time, he glanced at the defensive shield covering the entire central Dragon Island. Dragon Island's defensive shield does not only have one layer. Rather, there are many layers. He believed that these defensive shields were enough to help the Dragon Clan to hold on until the support from the armies of the Natural Elf Empire and the Medusa Empire arrived. Stubborn Horned Lizard. The 12-winged fallen angel said coldly. Then he grabbed a fallen angel sword burning with black flames from the void. Point the sword tip directly at the central dragon island. The army of fallen angels obeyed the order and used war to destroy the pitiful self-esteem and so-called glory of these lizards. With an order, the super hell warrior Kajusha took the lead. She held high the supergiant fallen angel sword, which was tens of meters long, and slashed at the defensive shield of the central dragon island from a distance of 10,000 meters. That was the sound of sword light cutting through time and space. The sword light bursting out from the fallen angel's sword was thousands of meters long, and across 10,000 meters in an instant, cut through the defensive shield of Dragon Island. In an instant, a bright light bloomed. It was like the sun exploding, extremely dazzling. At the center of the light, the defensive shield struck by the sword light suddenly trembled violently. The next moment, a huge crack appeared. This crack penetrated the entire defensive shield at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. Bang, 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 bang. In an instant, layers of defensive shields exploded one after another. In just one breath, all the defensive shields stacked up by the Dragon Clan collapsed. However, the sword light continued to move towards the central dragon island below without losing momentum. There was a loud bang. The entire central dragon island is shaking. Mountains collapsed. Vast tracts of forests were destroyed. When the sword light dissipated and the smoke subsided, what came into view was a huge underground crack. It extends to the end of heaven and earth. It was as if the entire central dragon island was cut in two by this sword light. Saw this scene. All the scales of the giant dragons on the island exploded, making their hair stand on end. Even Dragon King Angst, who is a peak demigod, is the same. They had never seen such a horrific attack. This is definitely not something that mortal-level creatures can do. Only the true god has such great power. It's just horrible. They didn't know that this was because Super Hell Soldier Kajusha only used less than half of her strength. If she uses all her firepower, she can easily cut Dragon Island in half. The reason why this was not done was because the attack power of that level was too strong, and the world rules of this floating island could not bear it. And it was easy for space-time cracks and cosmic black holes to appear. This kind of cosmic disaster will cause great harm to the floating island world. It could even lead to the end of the world. The gain outweighs the loss. However, destroying the defensive shield covering the central dragon island with one strike has achieved its goal. Next, all that is needed is for the army of fallen angels to march into Dragon Island and wipe out those giant dragons that refuse to lower their heads. Quite a coincidence. Just when the army of fallen angels was preparing to move out to completely end the fate of the Dragon Clan. Behind the fallen angel army, a huge wave suddenly appeared. Above the waves, there were densely packed sea beasts and countless sea warriors. This was obviously the sea army headed by the Medusa Empire and the sea beast army coming over. In the northeast direction, the far end of the horizon, a row of elongated black shadows also appeared. As the black shadow continues to pull towards the central dragon island, you can see that it is a war airship with exquisite shape and full of natural elf style. They are elf airships, the war weapon of the nature elves. The total number reached more than 50,000 ships. And on each elf airship, there are one or more elf legions gathered. Every natural elf in the legion is fully armed and full of fighting spirit. The army of the natural elf empire has also arrived. And from the perspective of orientation, the armies of the three races happen to appear as a triangle, surrounding the fallen angel army in the middle. From a war perspective, being attacked from three sides is also a taboo for military strategists. Dragon God is on top. Our reinforcements have finally arrived. The Queen of Nature Elf and Queen Medusa did not disappoint our Dragon Clan. They brought a huge main army. Suddenly, the dragons on Dragon Island suddenly became excited, as if they had seen a savior. With the aid of the Nature Elf Empire and the Medusa Empire, they barely gained any confidence that they could defeat the fallen angel army. The panic caused by the power of the sword just now dissipated a lot. All tribesmen gathered together. Dragon King Angst immediately issued an order and said, "We are responsible for holding back the angel army from the front and waiting for the armies of the Natural Elf Empire and the Medusa Empire to surround us from the rear. All the Yalong legions also attack. Our dragon clan must win this war. As you command, His Majesty the Dragon King. The dragons roared in unison. The so-called subdragon army is composed of subdragon monsters. When he learned that the army of fallen angels was coming, Dragon Emperor Angst quickly summoned all the subdragons from several nearby islands to form an army of about 3 million subdragons. There are all these dragons that fly in the sky, run on the ground, and swim in the water. Just as the Dragon Clan army was getting ready to attack, Queen Medusa took the lead in issuing the order to attack the fallen angel army. In an instant, countless sea tribes and sea beasts rushed towards the fallen angel army with huge waves. On the top of the waves, another Medusa battleship emerged. The densely packed magic energy cannon began to charge. She wants to bombard the fallen angel army. In the other direction, more than 50,000 elf airships gathered were also ready for war. Following the order from the Queen of Nature Elf, all the magic energy cannons loaded on the elf airships began to charge. However, their target is not the fallen angel army. Millions of magic energy cannons pointed their muzzles, emitting dazzling light at Queen Medusa's sea army and sea beast army.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.